I'm personally very excited because you happen to miss December in the Ladies of the RPF Calendar, which is very exciting, and you were actually wearing one of your Poison Ivy costumes in that.
That was,
which is very cool.
That was version 4.0
Okay.
my Poison Ivy costume, which is now retired after several years of wearing her. She's worn out, but I am recreating that costume a little bit different because to use for charity, because it is a classic design of Poison Ivy, mostly easily recognizable. It doesn't require body painting unlike Arkham Ivy or the Gotham City Sirens Ivy.
You mentioned something which I think is really important to be discussed, because I think a part of the hobby that a lot of people either don't know exists or aren't aware of, wait, that's the same thing, is the charity aspect of it. A lot of costumers I know contribute in a lot of ways to different charities. Can you give us kind of an insight into the types of stuff you do or going to do charity-wise?
Yeah, currently I'm the executive officer for a group called the Avengers Initiative. It's started out as a Marvel costuming group. We're now inviting other costumers from different genres, and we have a Jack Sparrow, we have Batman, Indiana Jones, Supergirl. We have a lot of different costumers that join in, and we do events. Sacramento Children's Hospital, we volunteer with the burn unit there. We do the Ronald McDonald Charities, Make-A-Wish, and for me, that is the most important part of this hobby. So many times costumers focus on, oh, I gotta get this costume done for this and this and this and this. And it's when you can give back some of that energy you put into your costumes, and you can bring a smile to a kid's face, or to encourage somebody, or to raise money for like charities like R2KT or the burn unit at the Sacramento Children's Hospital. Those kids will never live a normal life ever again.
Right.
And when you go in there and they're talking to you and they're like, yeah, I like that Batman issue and I want to do this, and you realize that you've made a difference.
Yeah.
And to me, that is such an important part. And there's so many great organizations out there. The Chicago Costumers with the Cause. There's the Superhero Costume Performing does a lot. So does League of Heroes. My advice is to get involved with your community, and not just with kids. Obviously, kids really like our costumes, but also like adults do too. And there's pet charities, and there's art events, and just get involved and get out there.
That's great. Well, thank you for participating in events like that. I'm sure all the people involved are very grateful, and I also think it's great that you guys are actually using your talents and your ability to perform as these characters to raise money or raise awareness for certain causes. So very cool. Abby, the last thing I really want to ask you was a question for some of our members who are sort of new to the hobby or maybe nervous about getting their feet wet. What would be some advice you'd give to someone who's just getting into the hobby, wants to make a great costume, or maybe even just make a little costume and get rolling? What would be a few pieces of advice you'd have for them?
My first piece of advice is don't expect perfection the first time unless you are 100% having somebody commission it. Like I mentioned before with my first Poison Ivy, there was like 4 incarnations of it. The first one didn't fit, the second one fell apart, this one did that. So, it wasn't overnight. Know why you're doing it. Are you doing it because you just have a love for a character? Are you doing it because you love going to conventions? Are you doing it just to participate? Recognize what you want to get out of it and go for it. That's the thing, is to have passion for something and to go for it. Recognize this is not a cheap hobby. It is not. I'm sorry.
No, but could you say it's not a cheap hobby if you want to do it well? Because surely there are people who are working on smaller budgets than others.
There are.
Or is it just hard to get great results? I don't know. I don't know. Thoughts?
So supplies, for something like a sculpt. Are expensive. So if you want to create a really form-fitted piece of bodice armor or something, you're going to have to do a sculpt and do a body cast, and so stuff like that is time-consuming, and the supplies cost a lot. Even
stuff like Pepicura, which is on the cheaper side, is still really expensive.
You still got to buy Bondo, fiberglass,
it's not free.
And the protective masks. Safety first, ladies and gentlemen.
Safety first. That's right.
Fabric is expensive.
Sure.
Sewing machines are expensive. They can be, So if people go, oh, well, you can do A, B, and C, no problem. Not all the time.
Okay.
really recognize why you're doing it, what's your passion, what's your drive, and go for it. There are so many cheap ways of making excellent costumes.
Yes.
The whole foam revolution.
Right, right.
I mean, that's what I call it, because it used to just be, okay, if you want to do an Iron Man, you got to do it out of fiberglass, and that's just the way it's going to be, and you're going to basically be a walking statue.
Right.
Same thing with Batman suits. It used to just be urethane, and you were going to die for hours in those costumes, or you only wore it during winter.
Yeah.
Now with the foam and what they can do with sculpting it and molding it and changing it, there's so many more avenues opened up to costumers, and it's progressively changing. And to be creative, think of new ways to do things. It's not always just, okay, I have to do A, B, C, and D. Come up with new ways. Right. For people who are getting into it, do your research. Join the forums. Ask questions.
Definitely. And
always preface it, and this is something I do personally. I'm sorry, I'm being a noob, but what the heck do I do about this? And just find out. Do your research and enjoy it, and understand that you will receive criticism. You will receive encouragement, and just to remember why you're doing it, stick to that, and you'll find your way.
Cool. Well, Abby, thanks so much for taking your time to interview with me, and best of luck with all your upcoming projects, and thank you again. Thanks.
You,
have a good night.
You too.